Good evening and welcome to the Buck Stops here this Saturday night. On the show, the political war between the Aam Aadmi Party and the centre is leading to a civic crisis in Delhi, from cleaning up garbage to electricity supply and tariffs that are going up by at least 6% from Monday. What happened to the Aam Aadmi Party's election promises? But before that, on the show tonight, it's been 18 years since the Uphaar tragedy in which 59 people died when a cinema hall caught fire in Delhi. In spite of a conviction against the owners for death by negligence, it was sustained by the Supreme Court. A sentence has still not been handed out. We speak to Additional Solicitor General Anand about undue delays in the justice system as well.
For the first time in 18 years, at this prayer meet for the victims of the Uphaar fire tragedy, black bands of protest, symbolic of the 18-year delay and a frustrating wait for justice.
Justice delayed is justice denied. I think this is the first time we're wearing a black band, and this is our way of protesting that there is the need, there is an urgency for fair justice.
Right from the beginning, the case has dragged on. It took 10 years for the lower court to give its verdict. Now, even after the Supreme Court declared that industrialists Sushil and Gopal Ansal, who own Uphaar, are guilty in March 2014, more than a year has gone by. The court is still to take a call on their sentencing. The families of the victims soldier on in the hope they will get some closure.
See, my strength comes from my children. I can say one thing, that you don't stop being a mother because your children are not there anymore. My children are there and they know I'm fighting to get justice for them, and I'll keep getting this strength till the time I'm alive, till the time I get justice for my children. It will continue.
Another year has gone by in what seems to be an endless wait for justice, and for them, their shared tragedy, a constant companion in this continuing nightmare. In New Delhi, with camera person Mohammad Arif, Keith Yagre for NDTV.
Joining us to discuss the delay in the justice system, Additional Solicitor General Anand. Thanks very much, ma'am, for joining us on the show tonight. 18 years since 59 people died in a tragedy. The case has proceeded through trial courts, high courts, the Supreme Court. The conviction has been upheld, but really a quantum of sentence and a three-judge bench cannot decide on that. Travesty, don't you think?
I'll go with you to one extent to say there is travesty when there is so much delay, for example, in this case of about 18 years in decision-making process. But the fact that two judges cannot agree, that is a matter of right, I think, of law. When two judges do disagree, that means that the issue is of some importance, and frankly that deserves full attention. I think the fact that the matter has been referred to the three-judge benches, maybe the process could have been expedited, but aside from that, a divergence of opinion on an issue of punishment, even a divergence of opinion on issue of capital punishment or any other issue, I think something which desires and merits full consideration by a proper bench. So I don't think in the name of delay of justice, we should talk about there being a divergence of opinion. Two judges placed in the court deciding different ways, that is a right which follows from the due process of law.
Right, but Ms. Anand, the issue of a conviction is one thing, because while many cases proceed and the prosecution is looking for a conviction, the issue of sentencing, while we take your point, if two judges disagree, it must be taken seriously. There really isn't any closure for the victims of these tragedies, the families of the victims of these tragedies, unless sentencing completes the circle.
No, I fully agree, Maya. I mean, the point that the victim should get reparation for the loss that they have suffered, though there can never be a full reparation of loss of life, particularly in such a gross case like Uphaar. I think it's a prime example of how things can go wrong, how people indulge in criminal negligence, and how people die in these kind of situations. But definitely closure is something which I would agree with you. We need to expedite the process. It doesn't matter whether they are ultimately convicted or they are acquitted. That is one part of the situation. Facts will differ, laws will differ. But the point is, closure must come at the earliest possible level, given full regard to the due process of law. And 18 years definitely lends itself to not such a thought process.
Ma'am, 18 years in the case of Uphaar, but I mean we have a list of cases, high profile cases that have taken years in the courts, finally reaching a conviction in the Supreme Court, whether you take Jessica Lal, you take the Nitish Katara case, you take even the Nirbhaya case, the issue of the appeals on the death sentences. Again, there's been no hearing since August 2014. We're looking at, one issue of the differences of opinion, another issue simply of there not being enough prosecutors to take on these cases, the judges not being available, dates being deferred on a regular basis. We're looking at an overhaul of the system that's required in many ways.
Maya, you stole my words. If you hadn't said this last sentence, I would have said the same. We do require an overhaul. Particularly, I believe that in our system of law, we have an extremely sound system as far as substantive law is concerned. So whether you say the penal code, or you say the criminal procedure code, or you say the contract act, I think we have good laws in place. What we are not being able to deliver to not only the people but an active citizenry and to the victims, which I think law must pay full attention to, is speed. I think everybody today is conscious of the fact that these trials are going on and are looking for solutions to rather a closure, as you said. So I think that is where we need to target ourselves, and there are a number of issues that we need to plug the holes in to be able to deliver that.
On the case of Uphaar, I mean, since you're saying that the issue is of a difference of opinion, how does the legal fraternity choose to resolve this? Because we are bringing back our focus 18 years since the Uphaar tragedy.
No, I don't think the legal fraternity can contribute to resolving this. The process of setting up a 3-judge bench to hear when there's a divergence takes its own administrative side, and I think that will happen hopefully very soon. I do think we need to inspire this process with speed in every level.
Right. Well, moving on to other news. After that, of course, as Pinky Anand said, that they need to inspire speed in the judicial system. We'll have to leave that. But moving on to the Delhi story now, and politics over trash collection, over power tariffs. What is happening to governance in Delhi? Is there a real crisis as the Aam Aadmi Party and the centre fight it out on every single issue?
Politics over Delhi garbage hotting up, and all the three lead players not missing any chance for a photo op. The Congress Vice President met Safai workers for the second time in 2 days and again pledged his support to their cause.
जहाँ भी शहर में गरीब व्यक्ति है, जहाँ भी उसको दबाया जा रहा है, जहाँ भी उसको पिछड़ा जा रहा है, जहाँ भी सूट बूट के लोग, चाहे वो आम आदमी के लोग हों, जहाँ भी वो इनका काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, वहाँ मैं इनके साथ खड़ा होऊंगा, दिखाऊंगा इनको.
The top AAP leaders picked up brooms and shovels to clear garbage a day after sanitation workers called off their 12-day strike. The BJP too had its own sanitation drive.
नहीं, सफाई कर्मचारी आज सड़कों पे उतरे हैं, हम भी उनका हाथ बटाने के लिए उतरे हैं. उनकी तनख्वाह नहीं मिल रही थी, तो दिल्ली सरकार ने थोड़ा अपने हिस्से के खर्चे में कटौती करके उनकी तनख्वाह देने की कवायद शुरू की है.
Let me tell you clearly, there is no role of central government at all. Delhi government has to give our legitimate share, that is 5.5%.
While the garbage tussle may have died down somewhat, a new hurdle may be up for the Aam Aadmi Party. The Delhi power regulator has hiked power tariff by up to 6%.
पूरी तरीके से जनता विरोधी है, आम आदमी विरोधी निर्णय लिया है डीआरसी ने, और उसका आम आदमी पार्टी पूर्ण रूप से विरोध कर रही है और करेगी.
The Delhi government had asked the regulator not to hike tariff till the national auditor had examined the books of power distribution companies, who the Aam Aadmi Party has accused of inflating costs and bills. Days after it swept to power, the Aam Aadmi Party had announced a power subsidy of 50% for small consumers and ordered a thorough probe into power distribution companies. The opposition claims that the Aam Aadmi Party hasn't kept its promise.
It's astonishing that the Aam Aadmi Party, which had formed government in Delhi, claiming that it would halve the power tariffs, today says that it is helpless and can do nothing except that it will oppose the DERC charge.
Delhi produces only 15% of electricity it consumes. Reports suggest a bigger tariff hike may be on the cards in July when the annual tariff division is underway. With camera person SP Dwivedi and Sudhish Bhairavi Singh, NDTV.
Right, well, to discuss this situation in Delhi, we are being joined from the Aam Aadmi Party by Saurabh Bhardwaj, we are being joined from the BJP by Sambit Patra, and from the Congress, the former Delhi Power Minister Harun Yusuf joining us in the studio, MK Venu, to give us some perspective as well. Saurabh Bhardwaj, I want to ask you to actually respond first on this issue of the power tariff hike. The Power Minister Satyendra Jain has written a letter questioning the DERC's tariff hike, proposed tariff hike from a Monday to up to 6%. But the real question is, this decision for a power hike was taken on the 27th of May. So why did the government not at that time object to the tribunal's suggestion? Why today?
I think the government has been objecting, and we have been communicating with DERC about the tariff hikes. Instead, we have very categorically said that unless or until the CAG report is out, the power companies should not be allowed to raise any tariff, and it is our stated stand. However, DERC is a statutory body, and though it has to be a regulator, but we have always been seeing that DERC is basically taking sides of power companies, and we would need, help from everybody.
Okay, right. I can see Sambit Patra shaking his head. Sambit, before I come to you, just a quick follow-up, Mr. Bhardwaj. The fact is that the tariff for Delhi, the government also has an equal say in deciding it. So you can simply just say, we're not going to raise tariffs on Monday. It doesn't matter what the DISCOMs are saying. Why are you not saying that?
Unfortunately, the way DERC rules are written, and it's a central government's act, Delhi government has a least say in what DERC decides, and we have categorically said that at present DERC is siding the power companies. We have always maintained that during the time when there was president rule and BJP was virtually ruling Delhi, they did not do anything to expedite the CAG audit. But when Aam Aadmi Party government is here, we have expedited, helped CAG in doing their audits, and I think it will be soon out.
Okay, so you're saying essentially also wait for the CAG audit to be completed before deciding on any power hike. Sambit Patra, you were shaking your head. What was that about?
Because the facts were not stated rightly, and that is the reason as to why I was shaking my head. Let me put the facts in perspective. Number one, on 25th May 2015, the DISCOMs who had previously gone to the Appellate Tribunal of Electricity had the order of the Appellate Authority that the DERC can raise the tariffs. Now they had given 3 weeks time to the DERC to do so tomorrow, that is Sunday, tomorrow being the last day. You had 3 weeks time, but the Aam Aadmi Party did not go to the higher appealing authority, that is the High Court of Delhi. Instead, the Aam Aadmi Party sat over the decision, and yesterday when the tariff increment was announced by the DERC, then the Aam Aadmi Party goes into a posturing mood, saying that we do not agree with what the DERC has been saying. If you did not agree, you had 3 weeks, you could have easily gone to the High Court and stopped this announcement by DERC. Yeah. Number two, what my friend Saurabh is speaking about the CAG is also incorrect. Let me remind Saurabh that the Chief Minister of Delhi, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, had only recently gone to the CAG and asked the CAG to release the report, to which the CAG said that we are already ready with the report. Quite before some time we are ready with the report, but we cannot release the report because of the very fact that there is a case going on in the Delhi High Court. Until and unless the Delhi High Court pronounces the verdict in this particular case, which the DISCOMs had filed, we cannot release the report. So the fact in this count is also wrong. Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj, the Aam Aadmi Party had come to being with the promise that you would halve the Bijli Ka bill, that is the Bijli bills. Yeah. But you are not standing by your own promise, you are only posturing.
All right, Sambit Patra, we'll bring the Congress in as well on this, because yes, that was indeed a poll promise made by the Aam Aadmi Party. 50% power subsidy for small consumers up to 400 units is what you had said at the time of the election. But Harun Yusuf, let me come in and ask you as well. You were Power Minister in the previous Congress government in Delhi. From your experience, do you think the fact that these 50% subsidies were promised was viable in the first place? Do you think that what the Aam Aadmi Party is doing today, after having not reacted for the last 3 weeks, as has been pointed out, is simply political posturing?
You see, they have become expert in misleading the people of Delhi, and people of Delhi have experienced this a number of times. As far as DRC is concerned, as Mr. Bhardwaj is saying, if they have a problem with the DRC and they are saying that DRC is conniving with the DISCOMs, and first they accuse the Principal Power Secretary that she is involved in a 11,000 fraudulent handling of a case and wants to give favor to the DISCOM. DRC Act was passed by the Delhi Assembly. If they have a problem with the DRC and they feel there is some laxness in the Act, they can always bring an amendment. They don't have to go to the center. They are trying to fool people. Today people are suffering from the power cut. They should have gone in the first place to the tribunal.
Yeah.
Because the tribunal has given this judgment. And now they are blaming DRC that they are conniving.
All right.
I say you hang them, but don't mislead the people of Delhi.
Okay, fair point. Don't mislead the people of Delhi. Before I come back to you, Saurabh Bhardwaj, MK Venu, this issue that essentially the Delhi Assembly has the power to amend the situation. They have the power to say no to the tariff hike as well. What's going on? Because power is one thing, power cuts are something that everybody in Delhi is complaining about. If you look at what's going on in all parts of the city, you have a civic crisis with garbage not being collected, the MCD and the Delhi government fighting with each other. It's happening at every level.
Sure, I don't think it makes sense for Aam Aadmi Party to blame the regulator, because regulator is an independent body, and to impute motive that he is with somebody or not, it doesn't help. The fact is, as Harun said, the government has the power, the assembly, they have such a brute majority. They can, if they want to, change some of the DRC provisions, and they can do do course correction. But I would like to draw your attention to the bigger problem, which Piyush Goyal, the Power Minister, said a couple of weeks ago. He's been repeating it throughout the country. The problem today is coal-based power we produce at less than 2 rupees, but by the time it gets to the consumer, how come it becomes 5 rupees, 6 rupees? Now, Piyush Goyal said that we need to, all the states need to sit together, and state electricity boards need to look at efficiency of delivering power, and that includes transmission, distribution, a whole range of factors come into play, which is there for Delhi also, just as it is there for UP, etc. And today, we have a situation where we have an installed capacity of 2,68,000 megawatts, and the actual power consumption in peak summer is only 1,35,000 megawatts.
So then, Mr. Saurabh Bhardwaj, why
people are not buying power because they cannot afford power at the rates that power is being delivered in UP and places like that. You know?
Okay, people are not buying power because they cannot afford power, not because power itself is in short supply, and that is actually an irony, because states are also talking about fighting the tariff hikes across the board. But Saurabh Bhardwaj, coming back to the point and the politics around it, the fact is you all have 67 seats in the Delhi Assembly. Really, power being something that the state government does control, shouldn't be an issue for you all to keep your promises to the people, because on other things like police and security, we've seen the fight between the centre and the Aam Aadmi Party come to the streets. What is holding you back on civic issues?
Let me again clarify. I think Sambit Patra very meticulously tried to mislead the whole debate. While Delhi was being ruled by the central government of Narendra Modi, CAG went to the High Court of Delhi twice or thrice and said that these power distribution companies are not cooperating with CAG and not giving them the files which they are asking for, and Modi's government did nothing. It's only after we have come to power, we have started arm twisting these power companies, and CAG audit has moved forward. This is the only strategy we have. We as Delhi government do not have control over the DERC Act. It's a central act. We cannot change it. Neither do we have the powers to change the chairman of DERC, who is Mr. P. Sudhakar. We cannot change him. If central government can help us in changing the chairman of DERC, would be grateful. And I would like Mr. Sambit Patra to commit on your television show that they would give all the support to get the chairman of DERC changed by changing the law or whatever it means from the central government.
Right, okay, Sambit.
This is very classic. This is very classic of Aam Aadmi Party. Tomorrow they would be saying that Mr. Modi is responsible for the kind of power tariff that we are seeing. I mean, we should not be drawn into such kind of rhetoric battle, which is quite character. Just a second.
What is the relationship of Narendra Modi and Reliance?
Please don't bring in Reliance, Adani, Andari. I mean, in fact, you are ruling Delhi. You are 49% stakeholder in the discoms. Ban the Reliance. Why have Reliance? Open new power plants over here. Please ban the Reliance. No. Why do you have? Who is stopping you? Who is stopping you from closing the Reliance unit over here? Go tomorrow and stop the Reliance unit from distributing power. No one is stopping you from that.
That's a valid point, because
we were the ones. Let me again clarify.
You are 49%.
Let me again clarify the relationship between Modi's government and Reliance. It was Arvind Kejriwal's government of 49 days which registered an FIR against Reliance, and it was Narendra Modi's government which went to High Court to say that no,
Alright, gentlemen, and Saurabh Bhardwaj, I don't want to shout over you, please, gentlemen. Saurabh Bhardwaj, you really do need to answer the question that Sambit Patra is actually posing. With a 49% stake in what goes on as far as power in Delhi is concerned, what is stopping the Aam Aadmi Party? This is not a decision the centre has to take for the Delhi government.
No, that is what I am telling you. Look, there is a regulator which is called DERC, and it's a central act which has created this regulator. The tariffs of these electricity by these discoms are decided by the DERC. And throughout our campaign, even before elections, we were always of the opinion that from that time, this new regulator, the new chairman of DERC has come in. He is hand in gloves with the power companies, and he is conniving with them, and he is trying to
get a hand and a glove in Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay, Harun Yusuf.
No, you are telling lies.
Everyone has a hand and a glove in
Harun Yusuf, from the Congress's experience in Delhi, what is the role of the DERC in the power tariff, and how much control did the Congress government have on the pricing?
You see, as far as DRC is concerned, it's a quasi-judicial body.
Yes.
But the act is passed by the Delhi Assembly. And if they have a problem, and if they want the better representation should be there, they should bring amendment after talking to experts. So but their sole aim is to divert the issue. One of their spokesperson, Mr. Raghav, a few days ago was saying that we have brought the corruption down and now the tariff will come down. Today, they are giving only subsidy, this 50%, 1500 crore they are giving as subsidy. We were giving it up to 200 units, and we were giving it for conservation of power, plus the poor should get this benefit. Now, the way they are treating the power, I think they are not serious that the people should get the best power in Delhi.
Okay,
15 years, and we were...
The irony of that, M.K. Venu, is the fact that on the one hand, you know, we're talking about bringing down power cost, availability of power, but power cuts that are nightly in the capital city in 45 degrees heat, that's one thing. But I think the bigger picture here is also political, because in a sense, is a lot of this not posturing? Because if the Aam Aadmi Party is saying they have no power to even address the cost of power to the consumer, is that not misleading in a sense?
No, I don't think Aam Aadmi Party has every right to address the cost of power, which is why they made an election promise that we will audit the real cost of power, and then we'll see how much power hikes should these discoms get, private discoms.
I think the question is, don't they have it within their power and jurisdiction to actually impact the pricing?
They can. I mean, you know, Sheila Dikshit also used to have a regular run-in with these discoms, and there was tension between them, and there was the regulator, there was the government, and there was the discom.
Right.
Now, it will be unfortunate if everything is put at the door of the centre.
Okay, unfortunate that everything is put at the door of the centre. Sambit, we have 10 seconds. We really are running out of time on this. We're out of time. We're not running out of time.
My one single question to Saurabh Bhardwaj is, if you knew that you could not even control the power prices on your own, what made you promise 50% reduction? If nothing was under your control, you should have written ditto BJP manifesto in your manifesto.
Fair question, Saurabh Bhardwaj. I'll give you 10 seconds to respond to that. Why did you make a promise you can't keep?
My answer is, Yes, my answer is that we are the only political party in Delhi which is not hand in gloves with Reliance. So we are the only ones which could get the CAG audit done. You or Congress will never get it done. You know it.
All right. Well,
after the cabs, you have to start a glove showroom also. Hand and gloves.
People of Delhi are still waiting for the Aam Aadmi Party to really take over the governance of the city. Saurabh Bhardwaj, I think that's a charge you all are going to have to consider responding to as far as the public is concerned. I know the Aam Aadmi Party is planning a massive campaign to reach out to the citizens who voted for it. But in the meanwhile, the power crisis in Delhi continues. We'll have to leave the buck stops here at that tonight. Thank you all for watching.